Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Back Garden Yard. And today's video is one of my favorites. We are going to go out and we're going to pick some green tomatoes, some yellow squash, and some zucchini, and we're going to take it in and we're going to fry it Southern style. That's right, Southern style fried green tomatoes, yellow squash, and zucchini. So let's go get it. So here we are at the tomato garden, and we'll take a look down at here. Now those three right there, usually if there's a bunch of them touching, those are a good candidate to take one off early, because if you take one off early when they're touching, sometimes when they're touching that makes them rot more. I see 3 or 4 touching down there, but they're the first ones and they're about to get ripe, so I'm leaving those. I'm looking for some right nice size ones, and these right here are touching. I'm going to get one of these. Okay, and I'm going to get one of these because these are sitting in the sun. Now I'm worried they might get sun scald. We got almost 90 degrees today, so I'm going to just take one of those. So I've got the tomatoes. Now we're looking for zucchini. There's a nice one right here. I like them pretty big when I'm going to fry them. And there it is. Okay, now let's find a yellow squash. So now we're out in the yellow squash patch, and there's a nice one. And here's another nice one down here. I need to deadhead those squash, but I'm gonna go ahead and take them off for the purpose of this video. And let's go see what we're gonna fry. So I would normally pick more than that probably to fry, but for the purposes of just demonstration, I think we've got a couple of tomatoes, a couple of squash, and a big zucchini. I think this will do well. Let's go inside and cook it. Okay, we're back in the kitchen and we're ready to cook. Now, I like to get everything out that I'm going to be needing for a meal or a cooking. That way then I'm not trying to run out in the middle of it, and when you've got hot grease, you're on the timer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the oven on, the stove top on, and get it heating up this cast iron pan. So I want to get that hot so that when I pour the grease in it, it'll be ready to cook. But I don't want to put the oil in it first, and the reason I don't put the oil in it first is I'm using canola oil, and that won't get real hot very long before it'll start smoking. So I'm going to just get the pan hot, then we'll pour the oil in when we're ready to fry. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a cup of self-rising flour in. We're actually going to put in 2 cups. We'll put it in that bowl. The second thing we're going to do is put in a 1/2 cup of self-rising cornmeal mix. And I've already poured those out, so we're going to put that in. We put that in second because it's heavier than the flour, so we don't want all the cornmeal to sit down at the bottom. Okay, got those down. Then we're going to actually put in 2 tablespoons of pepper. That's 1. And that's 2. You don't need too much pepper. And then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 and 2. Like I say, I leave these a little scant. You don't need to over season it. You want to taste the flavor of the squash and tomatoes. Okay, so we've got that, and now we're going to just mix it up right quick. And you can see that's a pretty good mixture there. And we're going to put that right over there next to the frying pan. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the wet stuff. And we're going to get a cup of milk. That's about a cup. Pour it in the bowl. And we're going to get 1 egg. Pour it in the bowl. Oops, we don't need any eggshells in there. And we're now going to mix that up. We'll leave that in there and give it one final stir before we're ready. Okay, and now we're going to cut the vegetables. So I'm going to just take the tomatoes first, just cut the top right out like that. Cut the bottom right off like that. Now we got something to slice. Same way here. Cut the top off, bottom off. And now we're just going to slice them about, I would say, a ½ inch thick. Maybe a 1/3 of an inch thick, but this is the thickness that I'm after right here. Be careful here. Okay, so we got 1 tomato sliced. We're going to do the next one. And notice I picked one that's nice and green and firm, but it's notice I picked one that's nice and green and firm, but it's totally developed inside. It's just waiting to turn red, but there's no real amount of juice coming out of it, and that's the kind you want. Okay, so now we're going to do the zucchini. We're not going to do the whole zucchini. That's a lot. So I'm going to start with the big end and save the other. Cut the end off, throw it in the compost, and then we're going to slice that about the same thickness, about maybe 1/3 of an inch. Some people like them thicker. I like them about like this so they'll crisp up. And just for this video, I think this is enough. Okay, so we're going to stop with that. And then we're going to get the squash. Now, with the squash, what I like to do is I like to cut them longwise. And I don't know, they just seem to taste better that way instead of cutting across them. So So there's one, and about the same thickness. And this one going all the way down. And same thing here. And one more. And this is the way I like to do the squash. Got one more. Cut the ends off, throw them in the compost. And we've got everything sliced to fry. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move this over. Now we're going to pour the oil in the hot frying pan, and first I'm going to turn it down, then we'll turn it back up. And I'm just using canola oil at this point. Peanut oil is actually better for frying, but it's a lot more expensive. And I'll throw this one out right when I finish. Okay, so here goes the oil. And that's about 3/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to turn it back up to high. And we will start the cooking process. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to dip the squash, the zucchini and tomatoes in the milk and egg solution. We'll start with the tomatoes, and then I'm going to bring it out here and dip it in the flour, cornmeal, salt and pepper mixture, and then we're going to just drop it in. We'll do a zucchini the same way. Do yellow squash the same way. And I'm going to fill this pan up. We'll cook this, and I'll cook the rest off camera. Okay, so we're back and we're checking them out now. We're looking for that golden brown color. There you go. The whole idea is to have a crunchy outside and a moist inside. You have to cook them at high heat to do that. You don't want to burn them. Okay, so we're only going to give them a couple more minutes and they will be done. And this, my friends, is the end of what we got. And as you can see, perfectly browned. This is yellow squash, this is zucchini, and these are tomatoes. Now we got another batch to do over there, but we're going to end this video right now, and I'll cook the rest. Of course, we'll have it for dinner. But this is Southern style fried green tomatoes, zucchini, and yellow squash. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like to see other videos similar to this, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. So actually, I went ahead and fried the second batch, and I've got it here also, and here it is. And as you see, they have come out just perfectly golden brown and delicious. And this is the result you want to get. You have to stay with them, fry them until you see them getting the right color, and then of course you get them just right. And let's give this a taste test. Wow, you'll have to try it. And thank you for watching.